Hello, lovely people. Welcome to our weekly reading for the week of the 26th of June. This is the 26th of June, 2023. I hope you are all well. I hope you've all had a good week. And I hope you're looking forward to seeing what the cards have to tell us, as I am doing. Let's have a look and see. Right, so I thought today what I would do would be to just let the cards tell us what we need to know for this week. So let's see what comes up. Just open. So we're looking at the Page of Swords, which we're looking at a court card here. We're looking at the Four of Cups. And we're looking at Death. Right, so we've got a court card, we have a minor arcana card, and we have a major arcana card. So this one is very much about very deep stuff, deep psychic stuff. This is kind of like day-to-day behavior, and these are aspects of yourself. So let's look at the Page of Swords, which is pretty much about aspects of yourself. And what is this card telling you, what we need to know for this week? So, excuse me, still have a bit of a croaky voice. So the Page of Swords can represent unnecessary defensiveness, basically. And it's this sort of defenses that would be, kind of guarding, like a wounded heart. And obviously a wounded heart needs healing. So this card can be about, taking care of oneself and not wanting any sort of feedback that might upset you, or, is there something like that going on? Because if you're not willing to hear feedback from other people, and I mean positive feedback here, then this, could stunt your development. Because the Page of Swords is very much about being thoughtful, maybe an intellectual kind of young person who wants to understand everything, and a very curious nature. And so this type of person would be somebody that would be interested in science, in research, kind of history, solving puzzles, being sociable, very sociable person, the Page of Swords. And this person really thrives in groups, enjoys meeting people, lots of talking, lots of debating, and there's a real love kind of like for asking questions. So there's a constant search here with the Page of Swords for understanding new points of views, if you like. There is a lot of mental excess energy that going on here that would really benefit from kind of like physical discharge, if you like. So that would be like playing sports, going exercising, maybe walking the dog, or going hiking, gardening, whatever it is. This card is saying, get out there, do something physical to manage this, the excess mental energy that's going on with this card. So there's a real healthy curiosity with this card too, and so we're looking at kind of ideas that maybe haven't yet been tested or developed into plans. So you'll be looking at kind of like a workable idea that requires maybe refinement before it can be applied. So there's a lot of action, but very much mental action going on with this card. And it can also indicate a phone call or a letter or maybe a text or an email communication. The pages tend to be about communication of some kind. And this card is also very good for describing the process of negotiating, having one's needs met. So, whereas this person is very capable of finding solutions to obstacles and negotiating workable outcomes with people who oppose their personal plans, they are actually quite vulnerable and can pretend that they're fine and that other people have the issues, really. So there's a real kind of sense of defensiveness here with this card. So when this card is coming up, my question would be like, you are ready for challenges. And even you're ready for the challenges that you don't want, because you are capable and you definitely have the mental courage. So be honest about your needs and be honest about your desires, and also look at all the facts. You are ready to stand up for yourself, and the sword is challenges and stimulates your mind, and you're ready to go forward here. You have what it takes. Now, interestingly enough, this brings us to the Four of Cups, and the Four of Cups is a reminder, to see all of the good things that are being offered to you, but that are being offered to you in the present. So this card is reminding you and saying, like, don't be thinking too far ahead and don't be thinking in the past. Live in the moment. This is where you are right now. Be in the moment, because the moment right now is actually loaded with abundance, and it's loaded with blessings and positive energy. So, when this card comes up, I would ask, like, are you open to receiving all of this abundance? Because this poor chap, he doesn't look like he's open to that at all. He's looking really bored, isn't he? And, he's looking like he's actually looking like he can't even see what's been offered to him. So maybe he's worrying about the future. Are you worrying about the future? Are you maybe shutting down with a kind of numb heart because of something that's happened in your past? Because this is a card of introspection and it's a card of contemplation. But it's also like it's a card of dissatisfaction. So it's not like the Hermit, really, which is very much about, the Hermit card, which we looked at last week, is very much about kind of like unbiased, if you like, reflection. Whereas this is a card of the, it's a behavior card, and although there is introspection going on here, and although there is contemplation, it's a dissatisfaction. There's the theme here is kind of discontent, which you can see here. So it's kind of like saying you want more, or you want more of something, or you want something different from what you already have, or maybe you want something different from what you're being offered, and you're too caught up in what you want to kind of maybe recognize that what you're being offered is what you need right in this moment. Because what we want isn't always what we need. So this card is a reminder. It's telling you that you need to reflect and reevaluate your path. What's disappointing you here, and what is that cause of discontent. So it's a card about reevaluating your personal choices, and not be using apathy as a defense mechanism, which is kind of what's going on here. There is a real sense here of rejecting new offers and new opportunities. So it's kind of like an intriguing card, really, here. The Four of Cups, and coming up in this place, because fours represent consolidation, and they kind of represent making your plans solid. And it's and here you have the Page of Swords, which is saying that there is something in the works, but it's just not quite ready. And here the fours are about consolidation, so they're about making it ready, but for some reason or other here something is in the way. And because they're cups, we're looking at an awareness maybe of the importance of an emotional and spiritual fulfillment associated with what's going on. So, you're aware of external possibilities, but, you need to realize that inner fulfillment is paramount. So this is maybe where the difference is between what you want and what you need. So, reflect on your past sources of emotional and spiritual sustenance, but do so, try and do so from an objective point of view, rather than don't want this, or I should have had that, or try and move away from that theme of disappointment or dissatisfaction, discontent, when you're making that reflection. Because fulfillment is very likely to accompany whatever choice you make, providing you make it from the right sort of place. And this now leads us to death, which I find quite fascinating, because the number for death here is 13, and if you add if you break up 13, you get 1 plus 3, which is 4. So it's kind of bringing us back here a little bit here to this card. Now, death is, whereas this is about your day-to-day stuff, this is very much about what's lying deep in your psyche. And this card represents clearing away old systems to make room for new ones. So it's about clearing away outdated habits and outdated behaviors and patterns of thought, which kind of I feel like is referring back to this card right here. And so the death card, it heralds an internal and an external sprinkling. And that sprinkling is in your perception for new ideas and new habits and new opportunities. So here you're looking at the Page of Swords, who has all of this mental excess energy going on here for new ideas and new opportunities. But what's in the way here is this kind of dissatisfaction. And this card is saying you need to sort this out, because it will get sorted out for you. But you have a choice to kind of sort that out for yourself. Now, this kind of scenario, it occurs many times, throughout our lives. And it can be about, it occurs, this kind of ending, if you like. It occurs like when a relationship ends, or when a job ends, or if you move house, or all friends aren't fitting your life anymore. These are all little kind of mini deaths in themselves. And another little mini death is the end of this reading. That's a little mini death. Or the end of a chapter, the end of a book, the end of a meal. These are all like tiny little mini deaths. So, we can survive endings very, very well. And, but, it's, this card is reminding you to live life without regrets as much as possible. So death heralds sweeping changes. And the message here is to release what's no longer required. So it's allowing an end to occur naturally. That sort of sense of finality. And I love that, allowing an end to occur naturally. So again, I'll go back to my little mini deaths here, and we're looking at the end of a book. Well, the end of a book is the end of a book. Hopefully it's been a good ending, or at least a satisfactory ending. And the end of a chapter is, the end of that chapter, it's the beginning of a new chapter. And so it's kind of the lesson for this card here. It's pretty much about learning to surrender to the changes that life presents. And it's only when old kind of like outdated patterns are swept away can new opportunities arrive. So this card is not a sudden change. It's not like the Tower. The Tower is like, bump, really sudden, upends your life. Death is not a sudden change. So you may already be anticipating new opportunities, and this card is just highlighting that you're coming to the end of a chapter. So the thing is, like, endings can be more difficult when someone is reluctant to release an old pattern or to release an old situation, or if they lack faith in something better. And I know this sounds really mad, but sometimes when crap is happening in our lives, sometimes we can be so kind of entrenched in it, or so exhausted, or have no energy that we don't have the energy, to release this old pattern. Or you might even have become fond of that old pattern, even though you know that it's no longer working for you. So it's it's an exciting time. I think death is a very exciting card, really, because when an ending is signified, it's completion of study or a job, or again, a relocation. It's something new is going to follow that. So it's not so much about the ending itself that is kind of significant, as much as it's about how you deal with it. That's really the message of this card. It's very much about how you deal with whatever ending is taking place in your life. And it's about accepting inevitable change, whether and that's really good for your personal evolution, because endings are always, change is always accompanied by rebirth. So something new always has to happen after something ends. It's a little bit like rising from the ashes, you're revitalized and renewed. So it's a lovely card, death, actually. And it's very much about overcoming your fear of change, because nobody is immune from change. Nobody. And the requirement of this card really is that, change can be scary, but it can also lead to, a great new life. And that's your choice, really, how the beginning is going to be. It's sometimes your choice about the ending, and but it's always your choice about what you make of something. So we're looking here at the start of something, and now we're looking here, at the end of something. And if we were to pull another card, which I'm not going to do, but we would be looking at the start of something again. But we need to deal with the dissatisfaction that is sandwiching these two cards. So that is your homework, if you like. That is your job for this week. Because, this brings us to the end of our reading. And I think there is a very clear message in here. Now, if this reading does resonate with you, leave me a message, leave me a comment below. You can always subscribe to this channel to be notified for the next reading. And if you would like to know more, you can book a private reading with me. I would love to hear from you. You can find my email address in the description of the video below. So lovely people, once again, I'm going to love you and leave you until next week.